She tried to smile for the cameras, but her mic was still on when she whispered, "We'll use her name to clean our brand." I heard it all. My daughter-in-law's plan to sell the legacy my husband and I built. So I waited until the lights were brightest and let the receipts speak louder than revenge. That night, every lie found its owner. Before I begin the story, tell me, where are you listening from today? I was out back trimming the magnolia again, the one Harold planted before his heart gave out. The air hung heavy, damp enough that my knees warned me rain was on the way. At 69, I know when the weather's serious and when it's just putting on a show. I had Al Green humming low from the porch speaker and a pitcher of sweet tea sweating beside me when a white Tesla rolled up my drive. Callista stepped out first. Dark glasses, phone glued to her hand like it might dissolve if she let go. Jameson came next, my only boy, tall and worn around the edges, still in his office tie at 5 o'clock. They didn't come to visit. I felt that before either of them spoke. Callista didn't offer a hello, just breezed past like my yard was some showroom. Jameson kissed my cheek, light and distracted. The look in his eyes said it all. This wasn't family. This was business. We sat at my kitchen table, the same one I bought with my first paycheck. I poured the tea, laid out peach cobbler, small courtesies to keep the air soft. Callista started the talking, voice crisp as a board meeting. "We need to move fast," she said. Jameson cleared his throat. "Mama, we need 800,000 by tomorrow, noon." I set my napkin down slow. "Tomorrow?" I asked, like maybe the word meant something different to them. Callista crossed her legs, cool as marble. "No excuses. Mother Crenshaw, it's time to be decisive." The way she said mother sounded less like love, more like a headline. Jameson tried to cushion it. Bridge loan, short-term optics, some jargon about investors. I asked about collateral interest, the kind of talk that used to make his father proud. Callista waved it off. The family name stands as collateral. That's when something in me twitched. My name had balanced the books while theirs chased applause. I leaned back. If I say yes, it's on paper. You both sign. Callista gave a tiny laugh. "You've had your time. Our generation moves quicker." Jameson sighed. "Mama, don't make this complicated." I looked at him. Steady. "Complicated is how we kept the lights on." Her smile turned thin. "We already told the bank we'd have it by morning. We're presenting growth figures at Friday's gala." I asked what story they'd told about me. Jameson didn't answer. My line in the sand came easy. If it's my money, it's my terms. Callista's tone sharpened. "We're not negotiating with you." There it was. The slip from we, meaning family, to we, meaning everyone but me. The phone rang, Jefferson Capital flashing on the screen. I let it ring. Callista whispered to my son, just low enough for me to hear, "She's stubborn. Push the wire yourself." I smiled and said, "Eat while it's warm." He took a bite, tasted guilt. I told them to leave the papers. Callista slid a folder across the table. "We're counting on you not to overthink this." When they left, I stood in the quiet. My voicemail blinked. "Mrs. Crenshaw," a woman's voice said. "Your son mentioned you sometimes forget things. Please confirm the wire authorization for tomorrow." I didn't move for a full minute. Then I sat down and opened my laptop. The bank site glowed with a pending transfer from my trust, signed digitally with a name that wasn't mine. Someone had answered questions only family should know. I called back, voice level. "Freeze everything until I'm there in person. No one speaks for me." After hanging up, I pulled out my red ledger, the one Harold gave me when he proposed. I wrote today's date in one sentence. They already spent my yes. I washed the glasses, poured out the tea, and packed a small box labeled for Jameson. Inside went a copy of my living trust, a blank promissory note, and that old photo of him on his father's shoulders, the real collateral. As I placed it by the door, I told the magnolia tree, I raised a good boy. Somebody taught him to be careless. By the time the moon showed, my suitcase was ready. I turned off my phone, locked the door from outside, and left the key beside the box. No excuses. I whispered to the dark, and the house seemed to nod back. I woke before the alarm, the house still carrying the kind of silence that follows a storm, not from the sky, but from people. The suitcase sat where I left it, beside the door like a reminder of choices waiting to be made. I brewed coffee in my old drip pot, poured it into my chipped Saints mug, and let the smell ground me. 69 or not, my mind's sharp as a tack. Folks love to mistake calm for confusion, but they forget calm is what keeps you from burning the whole place down. I opened my red ledger and reread last night's note. They already spent my yes. I added a checklist. Bank, trust, mail, cameras. Then, like a test, I recited my passwords and phone numbers out loud. Everyone came back clean. My mind is fine, I told the quiet kitchen. Their story is not. That voicemail waited like a snake under a leaf. I pressed play again, listening for every word. Your son mentioned you sometimes forget things. That sentence burned hotter than the rest. I called Jefferson Capital, voice steady. This is Mardella Crenshaw. I'm setting an in-person verification for today. Please note, no third-party authorizations without me present. The agent hesitated, soft-voiced, suggesting a caregiver letter. I said, I am my own caregiver, sweetheart. By the time we hung up, I had her name, ID number, and call ticket written in ink. Seniors get gaslighted because they don't ask for receipts. I've still got mine. At the branch, the air was too cold, the smiles too practiced. I laid my documents on the desk like a sermon. My ID, my trust, my signature card, proof I still exist. They showed me the forgery, shaky lines trying to mimic my hand. I looked at it, then back at them. You know, I said, older clients catch fraud faster than your software. The manager blinked like I'd slapped him with a hymn book. I demanded a freeze, a fraud flag, and the removal of anything hinting at dementia. Unless a doctor signed it, I said. Don't write it on my record. He mumbled something about my son. I cut him clean. My son talks, the Trust Documents Act. I walked out with printed copies, emails sent to my archive, and a new password. Stovetop, blue. My mind may wrinkle, but my systems don't. Back home, the mail waited. Bills, church bulletin, and a thick cream envelope. The Harold Crenshaw Foundation Gala. My late husband's name gleamed in gold foil. I opened it slow. Jameson. Founder's Legacy Chair. Callista. Executive Director. Me, nowhere. Not bored, not even Mrs. Harold Crenshaw. They seated me at table 18 near the kitchen doors. I traced the map with my finger. That's how they erase you. Politely. In print. I took a photo of the invitation and filed it. Erasure _ 2023. Then I called the gala coordinator. She chirped. You're near the service doors, in case you need to leave early. I smiled into the receiver. Honey, I dance longer than most donors breathe. Later that afternoon, I pulled up my email. The program bios came through. Jameson the visionary, Callista the innovator, Harold the legacy, the line that stung, the late Mrs. Crenshaw supported him at home. I typed one reply. The late Mrs. Crenshaw is on the line. I attached an old newspaper clipping of me in a hard hat beside Harold at the groundbreaking. Didn't ask them to fix it. I wanted that truth to simmer. Evening light poured through the blinds. I set my camera to record, reviewing last night's footage. Callista's whisper. Just push the wire yourself. I saved the clip to a new folder marked proof. Then I sat at Harold's roll-top desk and wrote a page for Jameson. No pleas. No tears. Just the facts, payroll, loans, the years I kept this family's name solvent. At the bottom I wrote, I let you borrow my name so long you thought it was yours. I folded the page, slipped it under the box labeled for Jameson, and texted him. Sunday supper, 6 sharp, no excuses. His reply came from Callista's number. We're slammed with gala prep. I answered. Then come hungry. That night, I set 3 plates on the dining table, mine at the head. Theirs across, between us. I placed the gala invite and the bank receipt. I didn't need to raise my voice. The proof would do that for me. The house smelled like Sunday, slow-cooked beans and collard greens filling every corner. I'd set the table earlier, placing each plate with intention. Mine at the head, Jameson and Callista across from each other, like opposing counsel. At my seat, the gala invite gleamed under lamplight. At his, a folded page with the bank ticket number and agent's ID. In front of her, a blank promissory note. Everything was polite, nothing accidental. I poured water, not wine. Clarity over comfort. My red ledger rested on the sideboard like a quiet witness. The doorbell rang. Callista entered first, perfume sharp enough to claim space. "Lovely evening," she said, scanning the table. Jameson followed. Eyes low, shoulders tight. "Sit where the truth won't wobble," I told them. Callista gave a tight smile, the kind that meant she'd rather be anywhere else. She commented on the food, called it homey. Then, "We won't take long." I smiled back. "Bless your timeline." Jameson reached for the cornbread, but I stopped him gently. "Business before bread." His hand froze mid-air. "Mama, it's Sunday," he said softly. "Then we'll start wholly, with honesty." I recapped the bank incident in 2 sentences. "Jameson Mo, tell me exactly what you said about my memory." He hesitated. Callista spoke instead. "It was a misunderstanding." "For who?" I asked. "The bank or me?" She looked away. I slid the blank note toward her. "Amount, term, collateral, none of which is my name." Callista's tone hardened. "You had your time. Baton Rouge needs new blood." Jameson murmured. "Mama, please don't make a scene." I kept my voice even. "I'm not making a scene. I'm making a record." I pulled out the gala program proof and laid it flat. "You erased me." "Not board, not committee, just the late Mrs. Crenshaw. I'm not late, and I sure didn't just support." Callista didn't blink. "Optics. Mrs. Crenshaw. Donors connect better with legacy men and modern women." I let the quiet stretch, then said, "Erase me, and you erase the books that built your stage. I won't fund a history that forgets its author." Jameson's jaw tightened. "Mama, we told the bank." "You used my name without my say," I cut in. "That ends tonight." I handed him a pen. "If you're a CEO, sign like one," Callista hissed. "Don't validate this." I stood. "Then supper's done. Family remains family. Money remains documented." As they gathered their coats, Callista muttered, "Control freak." I looked her in the eye. "Keep testing that word. It'll cost you more than dinner." The door closed behind them, leaving a silence so thick it felt alive. A soft tap on the screen door broke it. Odessa Jones, my neighbor, stood there in her house slippers. "You rang?" she teased, holding out a framed photo. It was me and Harold at the groundbreaking for Crenshaw Construction. Behind it, a smaller snapshot, Harold's roll-top desk with a blue chalk X on the bottom drawer. He told my Lionel, "That drawer's for when they forget who kept me standing." Odessa chuckled. "Men and their secrets." I studied the back of the photo. Faded ink. LB. 42. Odessa nodded knowingly. "Leonard Burroughs. He's been on that 42nd floor longer than the paint." The air changed around me. Grief gave way to clarity. Odessa squeezed my hand. "Say it. Dell." I exhaled. "They won't like who I am when I'm quiet and prepared." Inside again. I scanned the photo. Sent it to Leonard with the subject line, "Blue chalk drawer." Tomorrow was already forming in my mind. Bank at 9. Leonard at 10:30. Then whatever Harold meant me to find, I placed the gala invite under a new tab in my ledger labeled Erasure Evidence. Before bed, I recorded a short video. Mardella Crenshaw. Date and time logged. No authorizations except my hand and presence. My reflection looked older, but not weaker. I packed a small case, IDs, flat shoes, and that red ledger. Then I stepped onto the porch, looked up at the magnolia, and whispered, "Storm's here. I'm ready." The phone buzzed once. "Leonard, I'll be in early. Harold left you something we never had to use." I smiled, powered the phone off, and locked the door from outside. The night air wrapped around me like purpose. By 9 sharp. I was already seated near the glass wall of Jefferson Capitol, watching the morning unfold like a play. People came and went in tidy clothes and hushed tones, but I wasn't one of them anymore. I wasn't here to withdraw. I was here to lock the doors they'd left open. When my name was called, I stood steady, red ledger tucked under my arm. I handed over my affidavit, each line neat, dated, signed, the forged digital signature, the timestamp, the agent ID. I didn't just tell my story, I documented it. Freeze the pending wire, I said. Remove the word forgetful from my file. Add in person only for anything above 10,000 and send printed confirmation to me. Not my son. The manager shifted in his chair, voice smoothing out like butter. Families get cross signals. I looked him square. Crossed lines cost interest. He signed. I took a photo of the screen with my phone, saved it, and wrote the note number into my ledger. I wasn't angry. I was efficient. By 10:30, I was stepping out of the elevator on the 42nd floor of Burroughs and Associates. The air smelled of ink, old coffee, and legal strategy. Leonard met me at the reception with that slow grin of his. Harold said you'd only come if the boy forgot who taught him math, I smiled back. Then I guess today's the day. He opened an old leather case, pulled out a stack of papers yellowed at the edges. Harold's codicil, he said, and this. Your silent clause. Yo. He explained it plainly. No Crenshaw money could move without my signature and 2 witnesses. Any forgery or coercion would cancel every transfer and revoke their authority. It even gave me power to restructure holdings before court could blink. Leonard tapped the line Harold had written by hand. Protection over pride. I nodded. He always did prefer math to mercy. We got to work. His paralegal rolled in files. I signed page after page, initials tight and sharp. Together we built a wall they couldn't climb. A new custodial trust with security checks, a fresh fund named Harold's True Legacy, aimed at apprentices and healthcare. Not galas. Leonard drafted the revocation notices. I signed without flinching. Callista's access gone. Jameson's spending frozen pending review. By the time we finished, the foundation's money had a spine again. At home, I packed a small case, IDs, medicine, trust copies, 1 church dress, and my red ledger. I left the rest, clothes, dishes, photographs, for the house to remember. On the dining table, I placed a cardboard box labeled for Jameson. Inside, a copy of the Silent Clause cover page, a blank note, a photo of Harold holding him high, and 1 line in my handwriting. Paper talks, sign or stop asking. I added a small flash drive on top, its contents known only to me, and set the house key beside it. I took a picture of the scene, emailed it to Leonard. House table, noon pickup expected. Then I called Odessa. If they show up early, don't let them in. She laughed. Honey, I'll be on that porch with a broom like it's the Lord's work. By 11, Leonard had filed the legal notices. Silent clause activation. Fraud flag attached. Governance meeting set. They wrote you out in ink, he said over the phone. We'll write you back in law. I smiled at that, driving past the magnolia, its petals lifting like quiet applause. I took one last walk through the house. Checked the thermostat, watered the fern, closed the roll-top desk Harold left me. You've seen me hold this family together, I whispered to the wood. Now watch me let go. At 12, I parked 2 blocks away, engine off, eyes on my street. Leonard's email pinged across my dashboard. All filings accepted, effective immediately. The house sat still, blinds half drawn, and then, right on cue, a white Tesla turned onto my block. From 2 blocks away, I could see the magnolia's crown waving like a witness above the rooftops. The car idled beneath a live oak, air conditioning humming steady as my breath. Leonard's email confirmations blinked across my dashboard. Everything was in motion, but quiet. I sipped lukewarm coffee, checked the porch cam feed, silent, time-stamped to the second. My lawyer once said, you don't win by shouting, you win by being right before they open their mouths. At 12 o'clock sharp, a white Tesla rolled into my driveway. I noted the plates, the tinted windows, the posture of 2 people who thought the world still belonged to them. Jameson stepped out first, suit jacket sharp, nerves sharper. Callista followed, Sunglasses on through the sky was gray. They tried the front door. Click. Nothing. I'd changed the cylinder. Callista frowned, tapping her heel. Scanning the frame for cameras she couldn't see. Through the glass, she spotted the cardboard box on the console table. She smiled, tight, confident. Finally, she mouthed. They used the porch key I'd left, but the back chain stopped them cold. Only the foyer was open to them now. They saw the box up close. Curiosity dressed as entitlement. Inside, the Silent Clause copy, a blank promissory note, a family photo of Harold holding a laughing boy, and a small USB marked receipts. Callista's eyes glittered like someone tasting inheritance. Jameson flipped the photo over, reading the single line in my handwriting. Paper talks, sign or stop asking. His face changed, memory trying to fight pride. Callista pocketed the USB, waved him toward the car, like victory was waiting in the cup holder. They sat inside the Tesla, engine idling. I couldn't hear them, but my porch cam saw everything. Callista plugged in the USB, mouth forming. Play it. The first file loaded, her voice, whispering across my dining table. Just push the wire yourself. Then came the voicemail from the bank. Calling me, forgetful. Their smiles fell in sync. Next file. The prenup. Leonard's certified copy. Every clause highlighted in yellow. Gambling, debt, asset forfeiture. Callista's initials on each line. Then the gala program. My name erased, highlighted in red. Followed by one note. Erase me publicly, lose me financially. Jameson rubbed his forehead like a boy who'd lost his homework. Callista slammed her palm on the console. Rage blooming. I captured the reflection of their faces from the windshield in my porch cam frame. Evidence of realization priceless. Within minutes, my phone buzzed. Bank alerts stacked like dominoes. Transfer attempt blocked. New payee denied. Online access suspended pending verification. A second later, foundation card declined. Authorization revoked. Leonard's message arrived. Silent clause fully enforced. Counsel and compliance notified. Odessa texted next. Girl, she threw her hands like a choir director. I smiled, watching Callista's gestures grow frantic. The porch cam timestamp matched their panic exactly. Paper didn't lie. Callista stormed back up the porch, pounding the door. You owe us, she yelled. The hallway clock ticked back in answer. Jameson's voice cracked through the wood. Mama, please, people will hear. I whispered to no one. Good. Odessa opened her own door across the street, arms crossed. Y'all best leave that woman's porch be. Law ain't on your side today, Callista spat. Mind your business, Odessa grinned. Honey, it is my business. Show president. I triggered my pre-recorded doorbell message. My voice echoed through the speaker. This property is monitored. Legal notices delivered through counsel only. Callista froze. Jameson bent, picked up the blank note, and slid it back through the mail slot. Odessa's dry drawl carried across the street. That's a no. Then, when the Tesla peeled away, the tires shrieked against asphalt, marks I'd later document for the maintenance claim, just because I waited until they were gone, then drove back slow, deliberate. I photographed everything, the slot, the tracks, the untouched box, uploaded a full box event report to Leonard. Timestamps, photos, and their plate number. He replied, Perfect, board emergency at 4. Your presence optional. Optional wasn't in my nature. At 2:30, my phone lit up, a live stream. Callista, perfect as a portrait, crying into her camera, talking about elder abuse and stolen legacy. Comments rolled in like static. At that exact moment, my landline rang. The board secretary's voice. Miss Pasini Crenshaw, can you join the 4 o'clock as founder emeritus? I looked straight at my porch cam, lips steady. Put me on at 3:58 p.m. I clicked into the board call. Leonard square lit first. Crisp white shirt, neat tie, that steady red record light blinking in the corner. Recording for the minutes, he announced. My camera came on next. Background clean, magnolia leaves glowing in the window behind me. Then the others appeared one by one. Chairwoman Davenport, 2 gray-haired trustees, a young donor rep who looked barely 30, Jameson Callista, already angling her phone for a better angle, our counsel, and the gala coordinator marked as guest. "I'll take founder emeritus status until governance review," I said calmly. Davenport nodded. "Approved under Article 7. I renamed my tile before anyone could blink. Mardella Crenshaw, silent clause, holder. No titles needed. Authority was self-explanatory. Davenport adjusted her glasses. "Given today's filings, we'll move emergency governance to the top of the agenda." Leonard smiled faintly. His version of applause. I held up my red ledger to the camera for 3 seconds. Not a prop, a record. Then I set it down. When Davenport gave me the floor, I spoke in clean sentences. Friday's bank call, Sunday's supper, Monday's affidavit. No adjectives, no drama. Leonard shared his screen. Notarized silent clause. Power of attorney with 60-day limit, bank compliance receipt, revocation notices for both heirs. He narrated like a surgeon. Precise. Impersonal. The Foundation's counsel interrupted. "Perhaps this is a family misunderstanding." Leonard didn't blink. "The law doesn't measure misunderstanding, it measures authority." I continued. "All disbursements above $25,000 now require a board vote and must serve Harold's mission. Scholarships, tools, healthcare emergencies." Trustee Rollins flipped through his binder, nodded. "Matches Harold's original minutes?" Davenport smiled slightly. "Then we're simply returning home." Leonard cued 3 clips. "With consent," he said, voice steady. Clip A, the bank voicemail calling me forgetful. Clip B, Callista's whisper. "Just push the wire yourself." Clip C, the prenup clause, her initials bold beside debt forfeiture. Silence followed, long and pure. "Words have weight," I said softly. "So do signatures." Jameson leaned forward. "Mama, that's—" Davenport raised her hand. "Mr. Crenshaw, you'll have your turn." Callista's phone tilted upward. Trustee Holmes cut in. "Phone's down or recess." The live stream ended before it began. I lifted the gala proof toward my webcam. "Erase the builder, lose the building." No one argued. Davenport straightened, tapping her pen. "Motion's open." Rollins spoke first. "Restore Mrs. Crenshaw's founder. Credit in all public materials." Tss. Second passed. Trustee Holmes followed. "Suspend Mr. Crenshaw's unilateral authority. Require dual trustee oversight for expenses exceeding $5,000. Passed 5-1. Donor rep chimed in. Voice crisp. "Independent audit, 24 months. External firm." Unanimous. Counsel sighed. "Will notify the bank confirming silent clause enforcement." Leonard nodded. "Already sent," I added. "Establish Harold's True Legacy Fund as the Foundation's main grant body." Davenport typed the amendment herself. "Adopted." Her tone softened. "The board recognizes Miss Crenshaw is standing under the clause. Effective immediately." The gala coordinator's square flickered back to life. "Mrs. Crenshaw, I want to apologize. The earlier draft was unfortunate. The final proof restores your name as founder. It's already resent for print." My inbox pinged. Proof attached. Leonard followed with his own move. "Cease and desist to Callista Crenshaw, LLC for unauthorized use of Harold's trademark. Delivered via DocuSign." My turn again. "Any public claims of elder abuse must be retracted within 24 hours or we proceed with defamation." Callista's face flushed. Jameson stared at his notepad like it could swallow him. The meeting closed with Davenport's gavel tap. "We build what we honor," I said when asked for the closing line. No one disagreed. Afterward. Leonard leaned back on camera. "That was surgical." "Just arithmetic," I said. Odessa texted seconds later. "They look like they bit a lemon." I sent her a lemon and prayer emoji, elder shorthand for done and dusted. I slid the meeting file into my red ledger under Irisher Evidence, called the church office, and directed the first grant to an apprentice plumber from North Baton Rouge. Then I brewed tea, sat by the magnolia, and let the evening settle. Grief showed up, polite, then left me alone. My phone buzzed again, donors thanking me for protecting the mission. I replied with one line, "Mission protects itself when paper's in order." At 5:47, the sheriff's deputy called to confirm my earlier trespass report, logged and secure, and then, as the news alert hit my screen, Callista under audit for non-profit misrepresentation. A soft knock sounded at my door. Jameson's voice, small and tired. "Mama, can we talk?" I didn't open the screen door. Louisiana twilight sat thick around us. Cicadas hollering from the trees. Jameson stood on the porch, empty-handed, eyes rimmed red. Callista was gone. "I messed up," he said. "Not I'm sorry." That difference carried weight. I kept my voice even. "Son, I raised you to know the line between help and habit. You came for my wallet, you'll leave with a plan." I listed the rules like scripture. No cash, in-person banking only. All requests through counsel, every word documented. He hesitated, then spoke the number like it burned. 810,000, the loans, the markers, her brand deals. I wrote it down without blinking. "Now it's a figure, not a ghost," I said. "From my ledger." I pulled a sheet listing an addiction counselor, legal aid, and a union apprenticeship hotline. "Circle 1 before you sleep. That's your start." An hour later, Leonard's message arrived. Their condo 2 months delinquent. Default filed that morning. Foreclosure in 28 days. I printed it and slid it under the screen. "That's the clock, not a threat." He stared, jaw tight. "She took bridge loans. Used your name." "Print those texts," I said. "Tomorrow." His shoulders sagged. "It's bad. Mama." "Then let it be bad," I told him. "Shame's cheaper than ruin." He half laughed, half cried. "Callista says I'm weak." I leaned closer. If a woman calls a man weak for telling the truth, she's scared of her own reflection. I left him with that. By 8, Odessa texted me. Callista was crying on Instagram again, claiming elder abuse. The comments turned when someone posted the board minutes clip. I didn't answer. Never wrestle a pig in public. The mud flatters no one. A teenage neighbor DM'd Leonard the screen recording. Her own manager asked if the foundation logo was still usable, an exhibit made. Jameson texted me a pawn ticket photo, Callista's signature, 5:22 p.m. Designer watch, same day as the Tesla tantrum. I filed it in faces versus facts. I slept light. Phone on ring for the sheriff. Morning came damp and humming. I laced my walking shoes, whispered, "Lord, give me a slow tongue and a strong back." At 7:30, Jameson showed with a yellow pad 3 columns labeled addiction, employment, housing, 2 circled. "We'll start with work," I said. "We called the union hotline. Intake at 10. Be early." I told him. "Change weights for no man." Next answer in the counselor, a baritone voice that sounded like Harold. Thursday session confirmed. I placed $20 and a bus card on the table. Gas for the car, transfer for humility. He moved to hug me. I raised one finger. "Bring me a paycheck stub first." He smiled, small but real. 8:40, the local radio ran clips. Callista's claims versus the board's official statement. "That ain't lining up," the host said. Moments later, the sheriff's deputy arrived, served her LLC audit notice with a polite, "Ma'am." By 9, a donor withdrew sponsorship, copying me as founder. Odessa called laughing, said Callista was at the pawn shop trying to undo her own evidence. Clerk told her, "Ma'am, timestamps don't lie." I wrote that down too. When Jameson texted from the apprenticeship office, photo of ticket number B004, I replied, "Your daddy would have liked that number." By 9:30, I drafted a 1-page pact. I'd cover his first month in sober housing if he signed 3 terms. Counseling, no contact banking, weekly wage proof. "Read it out loud," I said. No, he did. We both signed. I handed him a folded receipt. "Keys come after the meeting. I'll drive." 10:20 audit firm email, Callista's contracts demanded in 48 hours. Gala proof finalized. Founder, Mardella Crenshaw. Front page, the line beneath, "We build what we honor." Callista's post went black. Caption, "Taking a break." Comments read, "Time to get right." I didn't respond. I packed my tote with the ledger. Church bulletin and Sunday's youth workshop circled. "Tonight," I told Jameson, "I'll be in the back row. You won't see me, But I'll see you." He nodded. "Steady now." The mail arrived, certified letter from Jefferson Capital, addressed to Callista, copied to me. I broke the seal. "Well, baby," I said, "looks like the last bill just found its owner." I arrived at the Shaw Center right before 6, the sun sliding behind the Mississippi like a curtain call. My dress was plain black, my shoes low. I wasn't here to be seen. I was here to be steady. Leonard met me at the entrance, program binder in hand, every page tabbed and numbered. "No surprises," he said. "Not unless they're mine," I replied. He grinned. I placed the founder's plaque beneath the donor wall, ran my fingers across Harold's engraved name, then turned away. Legacy isn't something you stare at. It's something you uphold. Jameson texted a picture of his sober living key. "Keep it. Earn the lock." I replied. I told staff, "If Callista Voss tries a pitch, escort her to the green room. No cameras, no chaos." Then I handed the producer a sealed envelope. "Open on my nod," I said. Inside were the receipts, the filings, and my statement, no adjectives, just truth. By 7, the house lights dimmed. Odessa's voice carried from the podium, warm and proud. The youth choir took the stage, their harmony clean enough to make even the stingiest donor cry. I stood with the crowd, clapping last, backstage. Callista's heels clicked against the tile. "We'll flash the logo during her speech," she whispered to her manager. "We need the founder halo." What she didn't know was her mic was live to the production feed. I saw the red light blink. Leonard's brow lifted. I nodded once. The producer captured every word. When my turn came, I stepped to the podium with my one-page speech. I thanked the city, the board, the children whose futures built the reason for this night. I didn't thank my family. That stage was for purpose, not pity. Then I paused. "One more thing," I said. "This is a receipts-first house." The producer opened the envelope. Slides appeared, dated filings, notarized clauses, donation logs, and trademark records. No gossip, just governance. The audience stilled. I finished. "If you wear a good name, you keep it clean. If you can't, you take it off." The applause rose slow, steady, and full of comprehension. Backstage, Callista waited. "We can still fix this," she started. "Brand rescue arcs are a thing." I set my tote on the table. Ledger, pen, certified letter. "We're not fighting," I said. We're reconciling ledgers." She called it elder abuse again. I turned the iPad toward her. Audio of her own whisper. "Founder halo." Her face drained. "Retract tonight or face public audit Monday at 9. "You wouldn't," she said. "I already did," I answered. At 8:40, the process server arrived dressed in a tux. Polite as communion. He handed her a packet. Cease and desist, defamation notice, audit cooperation order. I opened Jefferson Capital's certified letter, the one from earlier in the week. The silent clause granted me authority to redirect liability, straight to her LLC. I signed in blue ink. Leonard witnessed. Within minutes, a confirmation pinged. Lien initiated. Foundation cleared. On the final slide behind us glowed 6 words. "We build what we honor." Fade to black. Callista grabbed her phone. I slipped the pawn slip photo back into my tote. "Not my story to post," I said. "Just yours to live." "You'll lose your son," she hissed. I smiled. "I just found him." After the lights came up, donors lined quietly, their hugs firm. Words simple. "We got you, Miss Crenshaw," I said. "Then keep showing up for these kids." The board chair pinned the founder's emblem on my dress. I placed it low, near the seam. Honor shouldn't shout. Out on the terrace, Jameson waited, hands in pockets, chip in his fist. "I'm headed home," he said. "My home?" "Text your sponsor first," I told him. "Then make your bed." We hugged. Short, certain. I handed him an index card. "Work, meeting, church, miss 2. I call the 3rd. He grinned. "Fair." The choir stacked chairs, laughing like the city's tomorrow had just found its rhythm. I walked past the founder's wall one last time. "We kept it clean, Harold," I whispered. Outside, the river air cooled my skin. Peace, soft as a hymn. My phone buzzed. Email from the Attorney General's office. Inquiry opened into donor deception. Materials preserved. Already done, I typed back. I slipped the phone into my bag. Name intact, ledger balanced, at the curb, a rideshare rolled up. The driver called my name. Callista sat in the back seat, eyes glassy. Phone lifted halfway. I leaned in, smiled once, and said, "Put the phone down, child. It's over."